Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party. Yeah. I am Matt Weinhold, and I'm here with my monster friends.
Yes.
SHAWN Sheridan.
Larry Stroth.
And James GONIS.
And this particular episode of Monster Party is kind of a special one because
it's very special.
Yeah, it is very special
Very
because
special.
we have kind of a a legend. Let's just say a legend in comedy, but also huge monster fan. The Pitbull of Comedy, Bobby Slayton.
Bobby Slayton.
Yeah.
And much like many monsters, I cannot die. I just keep going and going to the end. I just, when you think I'm dead, I come back like Michael Myers, like Jason, like Freddy. You can't get me,
right.
Keith Richards, Mexicans, and cockroaches. You can't get rid of any of us.
You're like Dr. Phibes. You now eat out of your neck.
I love that movie. God, did I love that movie.
Yeah.
God, we are
I
thrilled
got
to
to
have
work-
you. This
Thank
is
you.
so awesome.
You know, as a matter of fact, let's start off, mentioning Vincent Price. When I got into stand-up comedy, and I think like a lot of us, it's really cool when you get into showbiz and you get to meet people who you admire, you grew up with. And I remember just doing a TV show in San Francisco. He must have been in his 70s with Vincent Price. And such a gentle soul. He was like a gourmet chef. And,
Sure, yeah. Love paintings.
Artist, right?
Yeah. And like Karloff. People said that knew him. The gentlest man, never watched horror movies, didn't think about violence, and they played the most iconic, horrible monsters, most depraved.
It just goes to show you what bubbling fucking anger is right under the surface there. It's like, yeah.
Well, that's why.
And speaking of bubbling anger, Matt, what is our topic today? So we can get into this.
All right. Well, we're going to do it naturally, but that's okay. Stop pointing your finger at me.
I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Well, it is an
about this.
exciting topic. Universal monsters. We
Universal
all love the
monsters.
Universal monsters.
Who doesn't?
And it goes. I mean, maybe the first monsters that I ever saw growing up.
Yeah, I think
were the
me too.
Universal. I mean, I think Frankenstein had to have been like the first iconic thing that I remembered.
It's funny because driving over here, first of all, how many shows have you done? You've not asked me to do the show, and I've known you for years.
We've done
about the bugs.
We've done about like 85 or so.
Yeah. Well, we have had
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
We're like streamlined now.
Well, it's a story of my life. When just to get into the subject for a second, when they used to do all these young comedian specials on HBO, and Rodney Dangerfield did the first one. These 5 young comedians, and I think back then it was a long time ago. It was Gary Shandling, it was Howie Mandel, it was Bill Maher, and then the next 5, and the next 5. Finally, I think I did the 11th annual young comedian special while I was still a young comedian. So they had gone through 50 comics. So it's like you've gone through everybody. You've already talked to everybody there is. Fine, who's left?
We're saving the
Slayton,
best.
He's still
Now,
alive.
for tonight.
Yeah.
How about the guy under the stairs, Bobby? We'll get him. Another great movie, by the way. But
Bobby Under the Stairs is great. Probably one of the finest Universal
you were
movies.
saying about iconic monsters, about Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster, but it's Frankenstein.
Sure.
When we were kids, I don't think
We
I was,
called it Frankenstein as a kid.
Right.
I didn't
sure
know any
did.
better.
I don't think I was 18 or 19 before it was Frankenstein's monster. Nobody ever thinks about that. But if you think about, the Universal horror movies, and you think about the most iconic figure, I mean, if you look at gangster movies and you look at comedy, you can say, well, you think about comedy. Is it Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton? Is it Jerry Lewis? I mean, or gangster movies. Is it George Raft? But with monsters, the guy, even though The Phantom was before him, and Mary Shelley certainly wrote the book 100 years before that,
Right.
But it's Frankenstein. It's Karloff.
Yeah.
That would have to be
absolutely.
the
Yeah.
guy.
And think about
For me, it's Edison. It's no.
think about also though,
What program are you talking about?
like what a healthy franchise. One of the first real horror franchises. There's no. I mean, back then in the 30s and 40s, there wasn't like other successful horror franchises that were going with like these recurring monster
well, there's no
characters.
monster movies.
That was them. I mean, Universal ruled for those decades. From Dracula, I think came first, right?
Yeah.
All the way to like Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein. I mean, and then of course resurgence in the 50s with the creature. But like they just ruled the horror genre for so long.
And even though Dracula was first, and even though it was this traveling play and a Broadway show, and I think Frankenstein was the thing that really eclipsed Dracula, and I think it became that was the real superstar.
Well,
of that
Phantom of the
series.
Opera was before that. Oh, the same time as Dracula.
Sure.
So, I mean, that was the first Universal horror movie. And before that, of course, the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Nosferatu. I mean, there were monsters.
Well, the Hunchback too.
Right,
It's also
right.
Silent too.
But the Hunchback is
It's a monster.
It's not.
No.
Matt, it is a monster.
Stop tapping the table. It's not,
I hate. It's like what?
he's not a monster.
He's not a monster.
It's not a horror film.
You know what?
That's like saying Rain Man's a monster.
An elephant man's a
you-
monster. My wife's a monster. They're not technically Well, no, let me take that back. I was going to carry away. That was a vodka talking. I mean, she's a monster.
Yeah.
No, and it's a lie.
She has a hump. She has a hump of rage.
Bobby, I would agree in the sense that yes, the Elephant Man and Hunchback, they're not really monsters, but at that time,
when we were kids.
When that film came out, he was considered a
So when you see like Torch Song Trilogy, you're like gays, oh, they sleep with men. Whoa!
Wow, you're really from Edison to gays?
Yeah,
you're really not even. It's your show, and you're not even on track with this.
No.
Man.
Hey, back to Frankenstein. That was interesting. You said Dracula came first, but it was Frankenstein that kind of solidified it.
Mm-hmm.
And how about poor Bela Lugosi, who passed on playing Frankenstein and created a monster of his own by Frankenstein?
But Sean, think
Karloff
about
took
it.
over.
I already agree with Larry on this.
If you think about it, though, here's this guy who's been doing this play, and he's this elegant guy, and he has this great voice.
Yeah.
And they say, "Oh, we want you to be this monster." He goes, "Well, do you have any lines?" No. If the monster's
No,
having lines.
I just find
and I understand that he found it insulting, and it's like no,
until he did Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
Well, yeah.
Well, and then we see what kind of Frankenstein he would have been, and it was terrible.
Oh, terrible.
Absolutely.
Karloff
was
puffy and
but a lot of it is because they cut out scenes where he spoke and he was supposed to be blind.
He was also
and that
would have made it better. I don't know.
No. In defense here, also Sean's bringing up that when Bela Lugosi did it, he was much older. If he had done it,
right?
If he had done it back in 1930,
I think he's the shortest Frankenstein too in filmmaking history. Because seeing him next to like giant John Lon Chaney was like they had to put him on
the Billy Barty Frankenstein series.
Yeah.
But you know what Lugosi did? He did that parody with the arms outstretched and the lumbering without the pathos, without the human. It was just it was almost like a cartoon.
Well, starting with Ghost of Frankenstein, that's when it became more formulaic, more assembly line. with Chaney's
feeling more like
Frankenstein.
and Glenn Strange.
Yeah, there's a big difference between the 30s Frankensteins and the 40s.
But do you think that before that, because I think what Bela Lugosi was doing is he was emulating Boris Karloff. So if he had been given the role and had made it his own, do you think that would have been a more true sympathetic character? Because I don't know if he had the chops.
Well,
it would have
been interesting to see what he
fair.
did.
Oh, remember, Lon Chaney Jr. didn't play. Ghost of Frankenstein was Lon Chaney Jr., right?
Yeah.
He didn't do it well, and the only guy that actually it was Glenn Strange. When
he looked
House of
great.
Frankenstein, was that Glenn Strange?
Yeah.
When Karloff played the doctor, and that killed me that Karloff wouldn't go back and do the monster again, but appeared in the movie. But Glenn, when Glenn Strange was great, he actually. In Abbott and Costello's Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But to me, as a kid, as an adult, I mean, there's so many things, I wish I would have done this with my life, wish I would have done that. But the one little teeny pop culture thing I wish would have happened was that Karloff would have reprised the role for the Abbott and Costello's Frankenstein. Because the movie was perfect. It was a perfect blend of horror and comedy. Everybody played it so straight. Abbott and Costello were at their best, and they could suck like Martin and Lewis, but that was their best.
Yeah, they were at their
Well, they sucked. I mean, you watch most of the Abbott and Costello movies, and some of that's really rough going.
Yeah.
So there's about 3 of those movies.
That was one of them.
Yeah, and that's one of the greatest horror comedies, I think, arguably of all time, because what they do in that movie is that they play the monsters straight.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Lon Chaney Jr. in that thing is acting his ass off.
Right.
It's the only time that Bela Lugosi came back as Dracula too.
Yeah, who was great.
Yeah, and Karloff as the monster and Bela as Dracula in the same.
That's
movie.
True. Yeah, that would have been. But still,
cool.
I always say this too. That I always thought it was just as much an Abbott and Costello vehicle as it was the continuation of the Universal horror monsters. It was like the sequel to House of Dracula.
Right.
Like it was just as good
and better.
It was a real Universal horror film that happened to be even better because it was funny and it had Abbott and Costello in it. It wasn't like Superman 3, throw Richard Pryor in it and make it funny. It wasn't like that at all. It was
The thing that always irritates me though is when people talk about Karloff and Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and somehow down the road Frankenstein turned into this lumbering figure with the arms out. And if you watch the first 2 films, that's not what Karloff is. Karloff is actually like moving around. Remember when he's in the windmill and it's spinning around?
Yeah, he runs.
He's running.
Yeah.
And then in Bride of Frankenstein, I mean, and he's running and it's like he's more mobile. Yeah.
Well, the sulfur pit took a lot out of him at the end of Son of Frankenstein.
Sure.
After that, he wasn't the same.
You fall through a windmill.
Yeah.
And then you're frozen, and then you're that's a lot. He went through a lot of shit.
I know, but I think it would have been great if he was able to move around a little bit more.
I agree with you, and I think what they ended up doing is they made basically what they did is they made a more charismatic mummy. Because that's what he is. He walks around and that's kind of what he's like.
He's sitting in the slab. He's laying in the slab for a long time in those movies. Like he comes up in the last 5 minutes. Gun Strange gets up and does his thing. But you're right. He's not. He's kind of like a bit player.
And so now, if to move on slightly, because we have a lot of
a
lot of ground.
Huge.
I think we're all pretty much in agreement. I'm assuming not giant Mummy fans.
Not me. And you know why I'm not a big Mummy fan? The Mummy, first of all, if you read about what Karloff had to go through with the makeup, with the clay and the baking, and back then, and that's the thing before Jack Pierce, wasn't it?
That was Jack Pierce, right?
Into it.
Yeah.
So, and then years later, Robert Englund had to go through 5-6 hours of makeup. But what killed me about the movie The Mummy was you really didn't see him very. In the beginning, when the guy goes hysterical, he comes back to life. He walks out of the sarcophagus, out of the, and he walks out, and then that was it for The Mummy. Then you see Karloff Karras, and that was it.
But that movie is more of this weird, atmospheric thriller.
Yeah.
And that is almost a entirely different movie than what it became.
The Karras series.
Yeah, the Karras series.
Later on.
And then Chaney playing the Mummy. I know a million comics have done jokes about this. I think Jay Leno did one. But the thing that always killed me about the Mummy was when he was chasing people. He walked so slow.
Sure.
And then a woman, I think Leno was doing a joke about the Toreador pants, and a high heel would fall off. But she couldn't get away from the Mummy. The guy was dragging one of his feet. He was the slowest monster.
But somehow he's going to catch up with you.
Part of his costume is stuff for him to trip on.
Yeah, but Bobby, I will say the thing that is scary about the Mummy is yes, it is slow, but it is continuous. It keeps
he's not going to stop no matter what. That's what's kind of interesting about it.
That's what's scary about the Mummy.
And I think most people associate that mummy, the Chaney mummy, more like the eye and the arm. That is the kind of the classic iconic mummy.
But
image.
he is wearing all the
than
models and even the toy. It is the Chaney.
That's true. There's not many Karloff mummies or toys.
It's a cool looking character, but as a monster in a movie. If you get on a plane from where the Mummy is and go, let's say he's in Massachusetts, and you go to Japan, you're pretty much safe from the Mummy for the rest of your natural born life.
By the end of your life, maybe he would get to you.
By the very end.
That's where you're wrong. It's like you could be in Japan, you're go, okay, I'm safe, I'm fine, and like 6 months to 7 months later, you'd be lying on your little cot, and then all of a sudden, the Mummy
He could take a plane.
And he would show up with, patches from all the different places he's been. Like the baseball and the Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Like a cast with all...
By the way, the worst movie, and a perfect example of what we were talking about, when Abbott and Costello met the Mummy, there was a total misfire. They had Frankenstein. Hey, let's keep this going. Let's meet the Mummy. And then the Mummy, whoever played the Mummy, it was the worst Mummy costume.
Yeah, it wasn't even Karras, it was like Claris instead of Karras.
Claris,
And Eddie Parker, I think, the stuntman.
It was like when the Three Stooges saw Mummy.
And
Jerry Lewis, when they would meet.
It's true.
But it was just, they wrapped their little gauze around the guy's face. Look, it's like he had a nose job and a facelift.
Well, it was like a one-piece, where the other one was like, bandages.
It was a Halloween costume.
Yeah, this was like a one-piece jumpsuit that the guy just got in.
And the worst pyramid, set.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so Universal Monsters, so we're not big fans of the Mummy. And Frankenstein seems to be a big one here, but Wolfman?
Oh, yeah.
Great story.
Love the Wolfman.
I think, James, you made a comment, I think, one of our other podcasts, saying how the Larry Talbot character is kind of like the strongest through line, really, in the Universal films.
Oh, yeah. He's the deepest character of all of them.
He is.
Yeah.
The tortured human.
Yeah.
But you know what's great about that movie was when they also did with Oliver Reed, and they did Henry Hull, did Curse of the Werewolf, and what was the other one?
Paul Nashi?
You just mentioned Oliver Reed's Curse of the Werewolf.
Curse of the Werewolf.
And then Henry Hall, that was the Werewolf of London.
And then there was
a she-wolf, I think, wasn't there?
So the Werewolf of London with Hull was the
that was
first,
before,
that
right? That was before.
That was pre franchise up until even when John Landis did American Werewolf in London, which was brilliant. Great movie. You didn't like that?
Yeah.
You
There's a problem with it.
I didn't say
Not
I
Paris,
didn't
but the
like
first
it.
one. You didn't love it.
I wasn't crazy about it. I mean,
Really?
there are things about it I like. But getting back to Lon Chaney Jr. As Wolfman, love him.
Yeah, we're actually talking about Universal Monster.
Yeah.
But I'm just want to know why you didn't.
Yeah, I think I want to know that too.
First of all, the makeup that they did, which they also did in, I think, The Howling.
Yeah.
But I think the first time they did it was, when the skin was stretching out.
Yeah.
The first time we saw was that Rick Baker, right?
No,
Right.
Okay, now it's people. You see, people are so jaded now by all this crap that you see.
It's true,
But when you see it for the first time, I mean. And to get off the subject, when you go look at Ray Harryhausen, I can't watch when they did that new Mummy and they do the Hulk and they do Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's so much crap with the computer generated shit.
I agree.
To watch all these millions of monsters and millions of Martians and. It's great when you have a couple of guys, and if you look back at what Ray Harryhausen did with the 12 guys, the 12 skeletons, fighting, it's a lot more
just
present
him,
to this
too.
day, more frightening
Yeah.
than 1,000 mummies or 1,000,000 rodents.
Poor sad guy in his basement. Just like
Bitter.
just working as hard as he could. Bitter,
16 hours
So
a
about
day.
bitter, yeah.
And let's clarify.
But yeah.
It was 7 skeletons. 7 skeletons.
true.
Just want to clarify.
He's our fact checker.
Just sorry. I would.
But yeah, so what was the other Wolfman movie that you were trying to think of?
Well, no, I was just going to say that when you look at all these special effects, the American Werewolf in London, I'm just saying that they kept the franchise going. There were a lot of great. I was a teenage werewolf,
Oh yeah.
Well,
But none of those. I would argue that Oliver Reed was probably the closest to the tortured
Yes.
soul. That
And
Lon Chaney
frightening.
Jr. was, and
Frightening.
frightening. Oh, yeah.
Great design for the werewolf.
That's what
Absolutely.
I mean, I know that Lon Chaney Jr.'s look that's very iconic, but I would say that Oliver Reed's is just as iconic because I've seen so many pictures of people who have drawn the
Yes.
Wolfman with
Yes.
the little ears and
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
And the open shirt.
And the
the T-shirt, yeah.
Right. Looks like the opera singer.
Yes,
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So badass. I mean, in a
Macho.
way-
Yeah, no, but it really.
Bobby, wouldn't you agree? In a way, don't you wish that Lon Chaney Jr. would be able to just grab his shirt, and go like rip the shirt open, because Lon Chaney Jr. God love him. He
would always button his shirt up.
That's true.
He tucked his shirt
was
in.
always high button collar, and it was always tucked in.
Speaking of which, Larry Talbot would go on a rampage as the Wolfman, and then he'd show up the next morning. His clothes would be perfect.
Yeah.
Especially in Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, which I was watching last week. He's in a hospital bed, and then as the Wolfman, he's in his regular Larry Talbot
Right.
clothing. So that meant that at some point the Wolfman got up, changed, right? Anyway,
Cutting room floor, but it was really good.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
when he did it.
But if you're going to start ripping apart all those movies, Matt was talking about this the other day when I came in to see you, but we talked about, I came in to see him like he's the doctor. When I came in to see you, not my monster.
You're doing. The tests have come back. You're doing quite well. So.
But Son of Frankenstein, why was Karloff in a big fleece sweater?
Right.
Why did he have a vest? Because, it was cold. I think they found him underneath it. By the way,
Before
Lugosi-
they could make down.
Yeah, right. I think that was the best thing Lugosi my neck, remember?
That was cool.
That's another great Lugosi.
That was his
Great
best.
character, one of Lugosi's
He got
best
accolades
characters.
for that. That was the best role I think he ever did.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. Craggy old. Yeah.
He tried to hang me,
But you know
couldn't do
what?
it.
What's great about that character, you see there have been so many takeoffs on it. There were other hunchbacks, and before that was Renfield and Dwight Fry and doing all that stuff. But still,
You kind of want to know about the backstory of Igor. Like, where was Igor in like Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein? Like, he just like what was he doing?
Now that's the movie, Sean, we want to see.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
So, can you guys
Touchstone
imagine?
Pictures presents Young Igor.
Igor, the beginning.
Yeah, I like it.
And you know what I never understood Bride of Frankenstein? By the way, Bride of Frankenstein.
Yes.
And I think you guys might be on the same page with me.
Okay.
Could be the only sequel, like The Godfather 2, that was better than the original. Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, absolutely.
better
Hands
film.
down.
Fantastic.
Even though it was a little silly with Dr. Pretorius.
But it was a good kind of combination
But it
of
worked.
comedy and
It did work. It didn't make any sense.
Pretorius is great.
But the fact that he's so over the top and so camp.
yeah.
But
So
you Matt, when I saw that film though as a kid, and there's a famous line in the movie Gods and Monsters where it said, "Oh, did you laugh at it?" And Brendan Fraser goes, "No, I didn't." As a kid, when that scene happened, I didn't laugh either.
Wait, which scene you talking about?
Yeah, when they're doing the little people,
And he picks them up with the tweezers and he puts them back in the
scene. I was terrified because I thought any minute he could go, and I'm done with this, and squish the little person.
And I love that Pretorius isn't really afraid of the monster.
No,
when he wanders
he's not.
down, oh, hello.
Well, and that's
come
what's
and
great
join
about
me,
using humor. Is that the fact that he had this sort of dry wit and everything that would be playing against the horror. That
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
Whenever you do that, and you do it well. And it takes an actor though,
and it's
to
extending
pull
the
that
character
off.
of the monster too.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what bothered me though, and it even bothered me as a kid.
Bring it on.
I love Bride Frankenstein, but here you are doing something against nature, and you're bringing somebody back from the dead or dead parts, and you're putting them together, electricity. Which you say, okay, this could maybe happen, but then you see a guy with little people in a jar. I go, fuck the dead guy. He's got little kings in a. He's got a little king.
Yeah, I always
How
thought
did
of
he
that
do
too.
that?
That's a very good
What is
point.
that science exactly? How did he do that?
He made a little king and a little queen.
wow.
That's
Well, yeah. Why are
Is he
you even
Dr.
fucking
Schrader?
around with the sewing the guy together?
It's a whole other franchise.
That's what I'm saying. Here they're waiting for a giant storm, and they're waiting for they got this hospital bed that they made from this is 18th century, 19th century, and they're putting stuff together and waiting for lightning. Okay, but here's a guy shrinking people. He's got little clothes, got him in a jar.
Again, the Dr. Pretorius story, the beginning. Where's that story?
Well, I'm guessing cloning.
No. See, Bobby, I didn't think of it as it was more like he grew them. Didn't he grew them by
It was
seeds or
alchemy,
something?
kind of, wasn't it?
And the other thing too is I wasn't under the impression that they didn't last very long. And I thought the whole point
Maybe,
was
yeah.
that to create
That's the
a
trouble
man-
with tiny people.
Tiny light.
Yeah.
Just saying,
They always leave.
My justification as a kid, there was something that either was said where I thought that these people don't last very long. So that was my.
Maybe.
I look at that movie.
That is
now.
kind of horrifying when you think about it.
After Gods and Monsters, I mean, I look at that movie now, and I look at knowing James Whale was gay and Colin Clive was gay, and then you see. Well, I'm sorry, Matt. But then
Spoiler
you see
alert.
Pretorius, and it's almost like, in a way, you can read into it. But here you have two men who are basically saying, "Hey, we don't need a woman to make life." There are.
Wow.
As a kid,
Nice.
and Pretorius was.
Leave it to the gay guy to bring it up. Which is fine. This is a Duck Dynasty. Do what you want. Wow. The whole homosexual undercurrent of the
man.
show.
I never really
It's not
thought-
bad enough none of us
Interesting,
get
though.
laid. Now you're going to make us
I'm
all
just
gay.
happy that he felt comfortable enough to bring him the secret out
interesting, though.
on this
confident in
show.
my masculinity. So
But that is really, that's actually a good point, though.
Yeah,
My
actually
daughter.
I'm making a man with blonde hair and a tan. Right?
When you
right.
stop and you think about all these movies, my daughter brought this up when she was little. She would watch King Kong, and she says to me, and this I use this in my act for a while. My 4-year-old daughter wrote this. She goes, and King Kong, one of the greatest films of all
Yes,
time.
absolutely.
yeah.
Yes.
But if you were on that island, wouldn't you want to bring back a T-Rex and not a giant monkey? I mean, it's just a gorilla. It's a big gorilla, but they got brontosauruses.
Yes.
Animals nobody's ever seen. It's a fucking gorilla. We've seen these
Gorillas
before.
were so
He's
exotic,
bigger than
though, back
usual.
then.
Yeah,
You know?
you see, you
Why
have
would
to. No. I agree.
Explain to me why they would bring him back.
I agree. I
Makes
agree
no
with
sense.
Sean. No, it does make sense.
Okay, explain to
Bobby.
me.
No,
I want.
First of all, the thing about the Brontosaurus or the Tyrannosaurus Rex, these are not the animals that were coming after Faye or
It wasn't the worshipped as the god.
No,
there.
it wasn't, and that's the other thing.
Oh,
it
right,
wasn't
right,
worshipped as a god. Yes,
Oh, the love
I
story.
agree.
He brought back Beauty and the Beast. That's why,
Yes.
that's why Carl
It's a good story.
They wanted to bring
Yes.
back, we have a story.
Right,
of Beauty and
right.
the- Okay, that makes sense. But let me ask you this. If you were, you had a day off the zoo, and somebody said, hey,
If I was Carl Denham,
okay, no, somebody said to you today, hey guys, what do you want to do tomorrow? You want to go see the giant monkey or you want to go see the T-Rex? Where would you go? Who would you go see?
See,
I
no.
agree.
That's a good point.
Okay,
Would you ever see the T-Rex?
No, if somebody said like, "Hey, we got this giant gorilla and a girl, and they're in love with each other,"
Yeah, right.
chick flick, first of all, and then they go, down the alley we got a T-Rex. Like, what?
Yeah.
but guys, you know they,
and
like-
Bobby, I would just, you have to remember when that film was made.
Yeah.
Film was made. It was
Gorillas were a big thing.
1933.
You put a gorilla in a movie
I
from
know,
the 30s or
Dracula, I
40s.
know.
It's the biggest. That's the
People
big
actually
special
went to
effect.
Africa, their big thing was, I'm going to go and I'm going to kill me a gorilla.
Gorillas were like this,
people
like,
had a lot of money.
exotic
It
thing.
was. It
Not
was.
buying it.
And look, it was.
Yeah,
It
not
was
on
like
it.
it was the
I wanna
closest
see
thing to
T-Rex.
man. It was.
I'll go back to your love story thing. That's why, because
Yeah.
he did say, and you're right, because we have a love story and we can sell it to the public, and they ended it with Beauty Kills the Beast. But
We're millionaires, boys. I'll share it with all of you.
Yeah, and if you days to see the lights.
by the way,
Ain't the wonder of the world.
I loved the remake until they started skating on the ice, and I said, "Fuck this! This is stupid."
Is that
Wait a minute,
the
you-
moment? Is that the
you were
moment that
even-
did it for you?
That was
See,
he jumped the shark. No, but
No, no.
How about the first 30 minutes?
No.
How about 40
okay,
minutes?
okay.
Well, all Fay
we are
Ray's
jumping all
acting
around
stuff.
But I was so excited about seeing the monkey, and
It's a gorilla. Call it a gorilla.
Yeah, it's a gorilla.
Get it right.
I apologize. No, but you know what? And as much as I don't like all the computer animated stuff, they did a great job with it. They took Jurassic Park. It was good. But then maybe I just wanted it to be so good.
You know what? Yeah, you know what?
I wanted to enjoy it, and I love. You know what it was?
It could have been worse.
No, I was watching the sets were amazing and the cars. I love to see that. It's like Boardwalk Empire. Sometimes you don't even watch the story.
Yeah.
I want to see how do they do that? I know that's blue screen. I know it's fake. But it looks so beautiful and so lush.
But didn't you guys think that? I mean, amongst the other problems with the film, though, it was
We're
almost
talking
like
about King Kong, Peter Jackson's King Kong.
It was almost
You were
like
ripping
too
into
much.
Peter
Like nothing, no individual
Just wanna
scene
be
stood out
clear.
so much. Like in other words, the T-Rex thing, the original King Kong, was so memorable. But by throwing in 3 T-Rexes and having this giant elaborate acrobatic fight, after a while,
Wasn't
it's like you just
necessary.
like
It's too much. And it's like, what am I looking at?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what
and the bugs too in the cave is like after a while, it's like there's
you know
too
what did
much.
it for me, Sean? What did it for me was the whole Brontosaurus chase.
Exactly.
And
Oh,
to
yeah,
me,
yeah.
That's where it kind of lost me.
Okay, when it comes down to it, I'll watch the original King Kong over and over
God,
and over
so
again.
do
I
I.
have.
So do I.
Peter Jackson's King Kong. Not
Also,
really.
the final line, it was Beauty Killed the Beast, delivered by Jack Black. I know it's supposed to be Fay Wray and she passed away, but by the time his character delivers it and the way he delivers it, there's just nothing to, I didn't know what it was, what it was supposed to
I have
be.
I have an issue with Jack Black being cast in that role, and I understand Robert Armstrong at the time when he was cast as Carl Denham for 1933's King Kong. They were saying that he had done some comedies and stuff. He was kind of like this kind of a goofy guy in a way. But when Jack Black does his line, every frickin' line, I think he's going to like do a fart joke or something, and it irritates. I think it was miscast.
I agree.
But I will agree with Bobby though. There are some elements in that
There's
film
a lot to
that
admire
I
in it.
love.
I
can't say I hate the film. There are elements that I really dislike.
But when
I'm
he
not a
started
big fan.
Central Park sliding on, but when they start remaking the movies, you go, why are they doing this? Why are they doing another Freddy Krueger? Why are they not using Robert Englund and do another Freddy Krueger?
Yeah.
Why does
Right.
Freddy have to meet Jason? Why are they doing?
Well, wait a minute.
Wait, yeah.
What you like that?
No.
Freddy
Yes.
versus Jason.
I want Bobby to finish
is
his
good.
comment.
No, go ahead.
Come on.
Go off. Wait. First of all, I didn't see when Freddy met Jason. I just didn't watch it. I couldn't watch it. I will now.
pretty good.
Good.
Huh?
Done with love.
But you were
It's
saying,
good.
why are they doing this? That's what you're asking.
No, I know when they're doing it. They're doing it because number one, they're out of ideas. Number two, it's going to sell tickets.
But how many times did they turn out good? It's like very rarely, right?
Yeah.
Like a couple, like Cronenberg's The Fly is a good example of a successful remake.
I love The Fly.
But like, there's
Fly-
so many of these remakes are just there's no point to
The
them.
remake was good. Didn't you think they did a nice job with that with Goldblum?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what it is? Some of these movies, when I first saw them, I saw The Exorcist. It came out, whatever it was, 70s.
74.
Okay, but 74, because I was like 16, 17, 18, living in New York City. And I'd heard about The Exorcist, the scariest movie, like Psycho.
Yeah.
Scary movie ever
Yeah.
made. Scary movie. And I kept hearing how scary it was, how scary it was, how scary it was. And I saw it after I was prepared for the most frightening thing I ever saw.
Yeah.
So I saw it at midnight. It had been out for a few months already, and it was during the week. And I smoked a joint. I was paranoid. I was by myself. There were creepy
Perfect.
people. Yeah, there were creepy people around me, and it was really creepy and scary, but not what I was expecting. The reason I loved Halloween, Night of the Living Dead, and the first Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. I had never heard of him. I was watching him late at night on television when I was living in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it was 12, 1 o'clock at night. I'd done a show, and I'm sitting having a drink, and all of a sudden it comes on TV. And the commercials, they were still on television. But Night of the Living Dead was a frightening, disturbing movie at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And Freddy Krueger with
Eating
those
people.
arms, when his arms elongated.
Oh, yeah.
And, and Johnny Depp dies in the beginning. He's one of the heroes. I mean, it was just frightening.
But that was also during a time too when trailers didn't ruin everything.
and trailers weren't all exactly the same.
Yeah, and like I remember
You bring up a good point,
watching the first Nightmare on Elm Street trailer, and you see the thing with the arms,
Oh, you
but
saw the
everything is out of context,
Right.
so you
Yeah.
don't have any idea like what the fuck is this. All I know is that it's weird, and I have to see it.
So you saw it in the movies. You saw the
Yeah.
trailer.
Oh, yeah.
When it first came out.
Yeah. Mhm.
See, I just didn't know anything about it. And again, it came out late at night, and it was a very frightening film because it's what they don't show sometimes. I mean, Freddy does kill these kids. The first Friday the 13th was great when you find out it's a mother.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
And Michael Myers, the music that John Carpenter did with that little piano thing.
Yeah.
It really was disturbing. It was great.
Yeah, it's great.
When he finally kills that kid in the house and he turns his head like a little dog and looks like he's not sure what he did. It was great.
Well, and that's a movie that we've discussed before, which is like I every time I watch that, it's perfect. It's
it
perfect.
really is.
Although John Landis pointed out a flub. I hate looking at these flubs in movies. But any movie you look at now, you just go on IMDb or whatever. The flubs in the movie, because people sit like you guys. I watch this.
Yeah.
But I guess the scene where you're seeing him from Michael's POV, when you see from his point of view, and he's walking up the stairs, and the camera is not the same way his eyes should be. When he kills his sister, and he
he's a
walks
little
back
kid.
down the
Okay.
stairs. I forgot the exact detail, but Landis pointed out to me. We had lunch and a few months ago, and he pointed. You should have him. You should bring him on your show.
Absolutely.
Well,
Sure.
yeah, he's coming up. He's coming up.
John's coming up.
Yeah, in a later episode. So yeah.
No, he's not. You didn't get John Landis.
No, we will. We're going to.
without
But
me.
please continue. Please continue your
No,
thought.
Bobby Slayton.
but flubs in movies, you watch stuff, and stuff you'll never see unless you read about it.
But the thing is that the movies that are what is always admirable is a movie that is so good and everything else in it has covered up that mistake, so you don't notice it.
Well,
and
okay.
that's why I think it's still pretty flawed.
Okay, so I just want to say okay.
No,
so we've got Frankenstein. We've talked about Mummy a bit, Wolfman. We've strayed a little with King Kong, but I'm a huge King Kong fan. But going back to Universal Monsters, I'm just going to throw it out there. Dracula. We haven't really talked about classic Dracula.
Yeah.
Very atmospheric, beautiful.
And I know a lot of people they pick on Bela Lugosi and they go, oh, Bela Lugosi. This guy at that time was so charismatic, was so charming, was handsome and electrifying that people were incredibly frightened by him because, in a way, he's a very attractive, exotic-looking guy, who just uses the stare to kind of hypnotize women and then go in. I always wish, though, when they're showing like the 1931 version of Dracula, if they could have gotten a shot of him going, sticking the teeth in the girl's neck. But I understand they couldn't really do that. But what a great,
Fangless, right?
Yeah. But what a great atmospheric, creepy movie. And I will say, like later on, like Universal, they re-released classic Dracula, Bela Lugosi, with a different soundtrack. A soundtrack which is just, it's got this creepy violin music all through the film. And it's, guys, oh gosh, it just gives me chills just talking about it. If you guys ever get this, it's riveting.
This isn't the Philip Glass score, is it?
The one with the little violin.
It came out like 15 years ago? 10 years ago? Okay.
And I would say that I really enjoyed Dracula's Daughter, the sequel too. A very lyrical, kind of atmospheric movie.
But let's not forget the Mexican version of Dracula,
Spanish, right?
which I think in a lot of ways is better than the Bela Lugosi.
Now, a lot of
movie.
people don't know about this.
Oh,
but
is that
you know a lot about that.
Film simultaneously, right?
Well, it was at night.
At night.
See that during the day.
Right.
During the day, they filmed Bela
that's
Lugosi
right.
on the sets, and then okay, guys, that's a wrap. That's done.
Right.
The Mexican crew would come in and use the exact same sets.
And the cinematography of that movie, because I think what they were trying to do with that first Dracula is kind of mimic the play. So everything's very staid and kind of static.
Yeah.
What made it really tough when the Mexican crew came in, a lot of them started cleaning up the cobwebs, the Mexicans. And they said, no, we're filming. So they had to spend a lot of money to redo the set because they were dusting. No. And they didn't understand what the point was.
They're hardworking people.
Yeah, no, they're great. I'm not making fun. But they see cobwebs, they go crazy.
Yeah.
Who is that other guy? You know what I know? So I went to one of these Chiller or Fangoria monster conventions.
Yeah.
And
those are great.
Years ago, I bought a VHS collection of who is that guy that did all those great Mexican horror movies?
I know who you're thinking of. Coffin Joe.
Coffin Joe.
Oh, yes.
You guys are big fans.
At midnight, I'll take your soul, and
I eat your skin.
Brazilian,
Brazilian,
right?
He's not
Mexican.
And in the morning, I'll eat your toes or something like that. Yeah.
His name
Did you
was
guys ever
Jose
see it?
I
Marin.
sit on your face.
What was that, James?
His name was Jose Marin.
Jose Marin.
Have you seen it?
Still around, I think, right?
Parts
Yeah.
of them. They were on IFC or some.
Were they
cable
good?
channel.
They are good.
Yeah,
The
his
first one,
his
especially.
his early ones are good. He gets into really weird, more
Psychedelic.
sexual, more bizarre psychedelic stuff. But his early stuff, his black and white ones are really good.
Because I bought the whole collection and they're still sitting in my closet.
Watch them.
Yeah, the first two are. It's almost like going through a haunted house ride.
Yeah, it
It's
has
like
a
just
great
weird, scary
Which
things.
one is that?
thrown at which
the first two are the ones I remember.
yeah, what is it? Tonight I Will Take Your Soul.
At Midnight I Will Take Your Soul, and I can't remember that one. It has a similar title. But,
Yeah.
I think
Does
I
it make
bought
a
him
difference
from
for
Johnny. What's his name?
Johnny Legend.
Johnny Legend.
Johnny
right?
Legend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love Johnny.
Wow.
He's a legend.
He's a legend.
Johnny Legend's a legend. Have you had him on the show?
No.
He'll come after John Landis.
Yeah.
I'll get him.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. Speaking of Dracula, though,
Once we had Shelley Hack, we were like, why even bother?
Bye.
Jimmy
Yeah.
Farr, yeah.
Now you got me.
I want to say with Dracula, what do you guys think of Son of Dracula with a rather pudgy, non-aristocratic
that was-
Don
with
Chaney?
a mustache.
But the
With
film,
a
but the film
mustache.
itself,
I
film
kinda
itself
like
is
the
good,
movie, though.
Yeah, the movie's good.
I don't
Why
like
did
the
he have
movie.
the mustache?
Yeah.
Well,
but
actually,
that-
to be fair here,
Okay.
in the book, Dracula has a mustache.
He does.
And that's why there is a Christopher Lee non-Hammer movie
Oh yeah, I think it's a Just Franco
called
film.
Count Dracula.
Yes, Just
where
Franco,
he
yeah.
has a mustache.
Like, you know why he has
Really?
the mustache? Because he's incognito as Count Alucard. So
That's
it's
right.
like-
Yeah, it's
Actually-
like Clark Kent.
Guys,
Yeah, exactly.
It could also be because
did
he
not
was
know
doing
this.
the Inner Sanctum
No.
mysteries, and he had a mustache during those.
You know, I
Did he?
contract.
So when he was Dracula, he would just peel off the mustache.
Hey, no, it took
Oh my God!
it took Jack Pierce 4 hours to put on that
Now,
mustache.
wait a minute. Are you guys?
It was individual yak hairs, and it was
Collodion mustache.
Yeah, it took forever.
Now, are you shitting? Because I'm thinking it was because he
Yes, I'm
wanted the
kidding.
mustache. He did a Cesar Romero thing, you know.
Maybe,
it's like, I
yeah,
am
yeah.
not shaving off
But
my
that,
mustache.
but the Son of
gonna count it
Dracula
before
is a
nominee.
fun movie though. It's a very atmospheric film. He's not really right as a vampire, but it's kind of a fun movie.
See, I
still.
didn't see those movies. I haven't seen those since I was a kid. Because growing up in New York, they showed, those movies. Any of you guys grew up in New York?
Yeah.
Pennsylvania close. I had like Chiller
not
Theater and all
San Jose,
those.
California. We had
San Francisco.
we had Creature Features with Bob Wilkins.
I was on Bob Wilkins' show.
No
Really?
When I first came out here. I met,
Was it Bob Wilkins or was it?
John Stanley?
I was on with John Stanley.
John Stanley.
John Stanley.
I don't-
who I love too.
Did I go on with? Did I go on with Wilkins? I'm not sure.
Oh my God, I got to find that
I
show.
did go
now.
on with Bob Wilkins. I did because
Bob had-
You were on the show.
He had a cigar.
Stanley had me on as a guest. I have a picture of me and Stanley. And
Nice.
Shows you how old I am and how many drugs I've done.
Yeah.
Bob Wilkins, when I first moved out from New York, I grew up with Zachary.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Theater.
Yeah, we love him.
And Chiller Theater, the original Chiller Theater. And I watch this every WPIX. They show, Plan 9 and all these horror movies. So when I moved out to California, San Francisco, Channel 36, I think it was or Channel 2.
Channel 2.
KTVU, in
There's
Oakland,
only one, two.
had Bob Wilkins. And you had this dorky kind of Mr. Peabody guy with
Yeah.
a cigar.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was so great.
Very deadpan.
Because
Yeah.
Awesome.
all these towns, Goulardi, and everybody had, monsters.
Yeah, there were monster
Vampira,
creatures, yeah,
Varela, and,
yeah.
but here was a guy who was really straight looking, who you think would be, a computer programmer.
Dry humor.
Yeah.
And that's what made it so great.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I met him, he told me, and it really killed me, he never liked monster movies.
Yeah.
It was
No, that's true.
Yeah, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
a job for him.
But
Yeah.
but that really worked because
yeah.
because
He would always tell you. First of all, he would
Yeah.
always
He was
say
always honest
how
with you.
bad the film was.
Right.
And he would say, don't even bother turning on.
And
your
that just
TV
makes you want to
set."
watch
Oh
it
my-
more.
As a
Absolutely.
kid, guys, I swear to God, as a kid, I watched it. Oh my God, it's got to be really good. I'm going to watch it, and I did. Even Attack of the Mushroom People, Matt.
Don't-
Right?
great film.
Don't-
Which
great
is
movie.
another show because this is Universal Monsters. We're going to stay focused.
I told Matt this story, but when I was in the movie Ed Wood with, Johnny Depp and Martin Landau.
Yeah.
And I was only on the set for about 3 days. I was in 1 or 2 little scenes. But what was really, really cool was when I was doing a scene with Martin Landau playing Lugosi, Dracula,
Yeah.
Lugosi. At the end of his career was on all these talk shows. He was on, Art Linkletter and Milton Berle and,
You asked for it and all that.
all these horrible shows.
Yeah.
And he was just, he was, the alcoholic and he was addicted
He needed to make money.
opium.
He did it to
Yeah,
make money.
gotta survive.
He played anything, and that's why I worked for Ed Wood. So he's on one of these shows, and I was a composite character of all these guys. And I was doing my Red Skelton, Clem Cadiddlehammer kind of character. Anyway, so I'm on the set for 3-4 days, and I'm hanging out with Johnny Depp and talking to Martin Landau. But while we're talking and hanging out, they're building the set from Plan 9 from Outer Space. They're building the graveyard scene. And the famous graveyard scene where Tori Johnson comes out of the grave
Nice.
and Vampira is walking towards you.
Yeah.
The famous iconic
Yes, that's
scene.
a very
Sure.
famous scene.
So
yeah.
now, I was there for 3 days, and when I got there, they'd been working on it, and there were storyboard editors, there were art directors, there were guys building shit, they were making the crosses, cutting out cardboard, they were digging dirt, and by the 3rd day, they're still working on it. So that they must have paid. And meanwhile, I'm looking at the storyboard and I'm looking at pictures from the actual movie, and they really Tim Burton did a great job. They
yeah.
recreated beautifully every cross, every tombstone, every little tree. They try to get they try to do, and you know that took Ed Wood 3-4 hours, maybe a day. And you know it couldn't have cost more than $100.
Yeah,
If that.
What it probably cost for these guys to have lunch, union set builders, union set designers.
That's true.
You know, all these guys. And there's plenty of them working on this. And meanwhile, even in the movie, you know, even in the Ed Wood movie, there was, the scene was only a minute or two. But that just shows you. People go, hey, how come a Hollywood movie costs $40 million? Well, never mind the salary that the stars get. It's $20 million just to do shit like that. To recreate something that originally cost $100. You know?
Well, there's a lot of people overthinking it.
You know, I will. Tim Burton gets a lot of credit for trying to make it as real and as authentic as possible, even if it costs $100,000 to get that scene. Where
at least he got it. Yeah.
It had to cost. It had to cost $100,000. I mean, by union scale, and the fact that I was there for 3 days, so they were working on it at least a day or two before, maybe a day or two after. It's Hollywood, we know. But for all your little listeners out there living in their parents' basement who shit like getting a gun and dressed like the Joker, don't do it, kid. Just because girls won't have sex with you, don't worry about it. It's highly overrated. We've all had sex. It never worked out for me. All the listeners to this dumb show, jack off, stay in your parents' basement, dress like a monster. It's fine.
Speaking of monsters and some of our favorite monsters, okay, Dracula, Wolfman,
how about
Frankenstein. We're going to talk. Yeah. Well, before I get to that, Sean, I just want to throw out one of my favorites, Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Okay, we're jumping in. Now we're talking.
Classic Universal. And
Never saw it.
No. Here's the thing. When I was a kid, growing up, Bobby, I saw on Creature Features, I saw Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, and the Mummy on Creature Features, and I'd seen pictures in Famous Monsters of the Creature from the Black Lagoon, but I had never seen the movie before. And so I was trying to figure out, how can I see this movie? Well, there at the public library, they were showing. They were going to show all 5 films. So it was the Castle Films versions,
right?
And so that's when I got to see Creature for the very first time. So the very first time I saw Creature from the Black Lagoon, it was that short, condensed version where it starts out. It shows creation. Then the next thing you see, it's deep in the heart of the Amazon. It's them on the boat on the Rita, searching for the creature, and that's how I thought the movie actually started. But from that point, I mean, I was a diehard Creature fan, and I was desperate for any frickin' Creature toy out there.
And by
one of
the
the
way,
most iconic monsters, which still holds up today as far as the design. The look of the monster, I still buy it as a monster.
Yeah,
Still.
But you know
works
what
today. Yeah,
I always hated was when they did Revenge of the Creature. They changed the costume.
Yeah,
They did.
eyes
They did.
especially, right?
Yeah.
The eyes especially.
Yeah.
It's a totally different head. and
I
face.
showed that to
It
my.
doesn't make any
No, I
sense.
showed that to my daughter who was 7 at the time, and she goes, "Daddy, why does the air come out of the top of his head?" I'm like, "Oh, honey,
Maybe he evolved a little bit since the first film.
I never noticed that. Really,
Yeah, that's where the little air hole. They had a little air hole, and he had goggles this time. Because remember, in the original costume, Riku Browning didn't have little goggles when he was doing the original Creature. On the second one, he had little goggles.
So that's why they were.
Yeah, his
googly
eyes seemed to be a little bulgy, and also let's face
the
it.
face, the whole head was different.
Let's face it, too. When they go from the Amazon in the Florida waters, there's particles in the water where it makes it a little cloudy. When they get to Florida in the sea, it's not SeaWorld, it's Sealand or whatever it is.
Right.
It's a clear tank, and you can see everything so clearly. So you
That's
can see
true.
the costume
Yeah.
really
The
clearly.
Revenge was not a great movie. The original was good.
I actually kind of
People
like
pointed out,
Creature
like,
Walks
ribs
Among
and
Us, though, because Creature Walks Among Us.
you did not like
Creature
I
Walks
feel-
Among Us?
You feel sorry
No,
for
wait
the
a minute,
creature.
hold on,
You
hold
feel
on, wait,
sorry
wait,
for the
wait,
creature
Sean,
in that
are you
one.
serious?
Wasn't
Are
the
you
Trying
really
to show it down. I'm not saying it's up there with the first or even the second, but like you feel bad for the creature at the end of that movie.
I understand what Sean is saying because it's a smart movie. But the creature part is you want the creature. You don't want the creature in pajamas walking around.
Right.
And in a different head. That was
Yeah,
that was-
he literally
he
was
was bigger.
changing.
Now he's
He was
morphed into a person, and it's with Don Megawan playing. It's not even. It's a different guy. You don't even have Ben Chapman or Rico Browning.
Yeah.
That was a different guy.
Yeah.
Was Ben Chapman, was he working? Was
he didn't know. He did.
Was
no.
Rico Browning too busy playing a frog?
I bet.
But you see, he did do the creature at the end when he goes. Well,
No, in the very beginning when
No,
they
no,
They
capture
didn't want
it.
to pay any money for anything.
No, they were kind
That's
of done. But you know when.
That's why they got rid of Jack Pierce.
When I first saw the creature, I was desperate for any kind of creature toy there was out there. The only thing out there was the Aurora monster model. Years later, they came out with the monster of the movies. It was in that great pose where the creature is kind of swimming up. He's got his arm up above.
That was Aurora too.
It's gorgeous, absolutely
and
gorgeous.
the fish tank accessory.
Yep. That the pen plaques, which I remember seeing
right?
it.
I had them all.
Did you have that?
Of course I had it.
Oh my god!
Our listeners,
I have it. But what's the problem with that is the little middle is like
middle
broken
broke.
off.
No,
well, that's worthless. Anyway,
You are so.
I had it in the original box.
Oh my god!
Ben
Oh,
Black's
I
crap.
think I'm
All
gonna.
right, but a lot of our listeners will not know is that Bobby Slayton had a huge Creature from the Black Lagoon
I'm
collection.
just learning this
And a huge
now.
Yes.
penis.
I'm just.
And well,
That they know.
that's
That's a
I'm
good-
just learning this now too.
All you gotta do is
I
just
did. I saw that on eBay too.
ask any woman in Hayward.
And Fremont.
No, so you had a huge creature collection?
One of the biggest.
Well, so
In the world.
now, do you know there was this guy, the Arizona Gilman?
Yeah, I know him
you,
very well.
You know him?
Yeah, Johnny
Gilbert.
Gilbert, yeah.
So what was the deal? Why did you get rid of your creature stuff? And how come you
Shut
didn't
up,
call
I'll
me?
tell you.
All right. No, tell me now.
See, now you know what we have to do.
Yeah, I understand. You're talking more than the gay guy. That's how much you talk.
Creature.
Okay, here's what happened. Okay, and this is a very funny story, and I'm loaded with more stories, and I have more. We don't have a lot of time because you monopolize the show. But anyway,
That's what I do. I monopolize the show.
We know that.
Yes.
Okay, so here's what happened. I always loved monsters, and about it's probably 30 years by now. I am driving down Melrose Avenue, off the wall antiques, and there's this giant creature stand up. This is a whole story in itself, but there weren't that many of them made. It was a flesh-colored face. He had fangs. It was something that was made. Nobody knows exactly where this came from, but supposedly there were a dozen of them made in the 50s or 60s for a chain of magic stores. Somebody said they came from Mexico with the movie, and they didn't want to do the actual creature face because they were going to get sued by Universal.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I saw this creature. I still have it in my house, and I said I have to have it. I was broke, and I borrowed $1,000 from a friend of mine, and I bought this giant creature. He's
That
in
is
my office.
awesome.
Okay, so a few months later, I guess I'm walking around and I see this little creature wind up. Those little wind up things that shoot sparks.
Yeah.
Those little $2 things.
Yeah.
Those little monsters. So I got one of those, and then I found another little creature thing, and I had a shelf with 2 or 3 creature things and this giant statue. And for some reason, I'm on a radio show talking about it. I'm playing some comedy club, and I'm telling the comic this story. And he says to me, if you like the creature, you should go on eBay. What's eBay? This is 20 years ago.
Yeah, no, I get it.
eBay.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, you can buy all this creature stuff. Meanwhile, let me back up.
Was this friend named Lou Cipher?
I actually had about 10 creature things. And I mean, that's all the creature stuff that
Yeah.
we had there.
Yeah.
I had a Pez dispenser
Yeah.
that I found in a garage sale. Somebody told me it was worth $100. I had the Soaky. I found somewhere.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that was worth like $50.
It's like $100.
So I had a Soaky. And anyway, I had 8 things. I go, there can't be more creature stuff out there. How many more premiums can there be? I go on eBay. Now, this is 20, 25 years ago. And there's dozens and dozens. And, this is before they started doing all the model remakes.
Yeah, yeah,
and all the
Sideshow.
garage,
Yeah.
all the sideshow,
Sure, yeah.
and all the resin kits.
Yeah.
And so I started looking, and I go, there's about 25 things. I go, I'm going to get them all. And there was the wallet from Captain Company that was originally advertised in Famous Monsters, and a few other things. And I'm paying top dollar for them. I didn't realize how eBay worked at the time.
But even then, though, weren't they a little bit cheaper since it was
Lot
new?
cheaper.
They must have been.
A lot.
They
It
must
was
have been.
a lot cheaper. So anyway, I get to 15, 20 things, and I keep going on eBay. And every time I go on eBay, I realize there's more things, and there's more things. And, and I realize somebody outbid you. You bastard! You outbid me!
Oh, we know.
We know that feeling.
I'm going to
Trust
get
me.
you. And then I realized, you don't put a bid in. You wait till the last 30 seconds, and you get auction.
You wait till the last 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So so I started. It's a game to me now, and I had extra cash because I was selling some CDs and I sold a few movie posters. And I get it. But as I bought more stuff, my wife's going, "You getting more creature shit?" I go, "I'm almost done. There can't be more stuff out there." This goes on for 5 years. And like you guys, I realize there's more stuff's coming out. But here was amazing about the creature. The reason there was so much creature from the Black Lagoon stuff, as opposed to Frankenstein, Dracula, and the other Universal monsters, was out in the 1950s. Before that, Flash Gordon, and they had premiums and cereal boxes, and they put out a few things. And they
Very
put out-
sparse, though.
Yeah, very sparse. Maybe a few records, and there were no such thing as all these T-shirts and all this memorabilia. But in the 50s, when all of a sudden hula hoops and gumball machines and play playing cards and monster cards and games and toys and Hasbro and Aurora and models. That's when it all started.
Yeah, it
so
started
that's
up.
why the Creature, who was big in the 50s. So then they started doing some Frankenstein and Dracula, but those were afterthoughts. So the Creature was the big monster then. So they started making a lot
One of the
things.
first monster toy booms in a way.
Right. That was the first. I mean, then they did the Sokies, and they did all the monsters, and then they did the models, and they did all the monsters. So I kept buying shit and buying shit and buying shit. So meanwhile, fast forward a year later, and I got a room full of stuff in my house, and I think I've got the world's greatest creature collection.
And I saw it. It was damn good.
I can't believe I never saw
Next time
that.
I come back.
Do you have photos?
Oh, yeah.
I've got to see these.
Well, we'll see about that. I'll show them to Matt.
I'll pay you some.
But no, I do. I make sure that I have some great. I should have brought them with me. Anyway, so I have this great collection. That's when I met Johnny Gilbert, the Arizona Gilbert. Because I outbid him on a couple of things. And I said, Johnny,
That's good in even of itself.
That's
Yeah.
top dollar, man,
I said,
right there.
yeah, but he had almost everything. And
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
I did too. And I said, Johnny, I sent him a picture of my room. I go, have you ever seen more creature stuff than this? He sends me back 3 roomfuls of photos of stuff. And I go, you know what? I don't have the time. I go, Gilbert, compared to some of the people, he goes, well, you're like in the top 3 or 4. I go, there's guys that are more. And I said, fuck it. I'm not going to keep going.
Right.
But I had almost everything. There's a few pieces that I got. There was, okay, let me give you, I had the Hasbro game. It was unplayed.
That's very valuable, guys.
Was that like from the 60s?
It's
or-
from the 60s, and it's like one of the most desirable ones because there's a Frankenstein and the Wolfman, but the Creature one is
Most
very.
people-
And like a standard board game.
when you
or-
spin the
Yeah.
dial,
Yeah.
and you push out the. Like
It has
any
the
game, like
picture
Monopoly.
from the Aurora Monster model.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But I had a game that was never played.
Wow.
But this is why I got rid of some of this stuff. It was sitting there in a frame in my fucking garage. And then, I moved to a smaller house actually, and I didn't have room for it. So I had it in my closet along with my famous Monsters magazines. What am I going to do with this shit? I put it on eBay. And I got a couple of grand for it. Well, I mean, why not take the money and fix the leak in my roof? Get the barbecue I want. Get the Blu-ray player and the new TV. Rather than have this fucking toy.
Do you still have some stuff? Do you still have a few like?
A few little pieces. Very. You know what I had? Here, this will kill you. You know what I had? Oh
What?
my God, beautiful. An original Universal stamp on it. Original script from the Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, my
Now,
God.
it was called The Black Lagoon. It wasn't called The Creature
Yeah,
from the
right,
Black Lagoon.
right.
Yeah.
And it was from the producer. I think it was, what's his name?
William Allen
William Allen or the director.
Arthur
Jack
Pierce?
Arnold.
Jack Arnold.
No,
Jack
Jack
Arnold.
Arnold.
It was Jack Reynolds was no Jack Arnold.
Yeah, Jack
Jack
Arnold.
Arnold. Jack Arnold directed. I
It was,
think.
it was a producer, I think, because there's
William Allen.
notes on the script. The Gill Man. Nobody will know what that is when you call him the Gill Man. It's notes from. Maybe it's from Universal.
Wow.
But it's an original script, and they call him the Gill Man. And he's not called the Creature.
And the notes are like pencil written in there,
And
like
you
original.
You sold this?
Wow.
Does Gilbert have it?
I bought it at a monster convention for about $1,000.
Yeah.
And I sold it on one of the Heritage or one of those film
Yeah.
Auctions?
Yeah.
auctions. And I get 6 for it.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
That's good.
But
great.
it's the
Someone
kind of-
outbid me.
It's the kind of piece that I know that nobody has that. Nobody has an original
Yeah,
script
yeah, really.
from the Creature. I'm probably the only person that had one. There might be one out there somewhere else. But what am I going to do with it? It was in a frame, and all you see is the cover. Then it's in a drawer. Give me the $6,000. Let me take my wife to Bermuda.
Well, you really love your wife.
Yeah.
That's commendable.
No, I actually got a hooker.
commendable.
I
Yeah.
actually got a hooker.
I think
some
the
blood. But it was the
I was gonna say,
idea.
what did she think of your Creature obsession?
Yeah, she wasn't.
She hated it.
But wait a minute. Hated it.
I mean,
No,
she
didn't
learned to.
why do you get rid of it? She just thought it was just silly. Which she
Passive
did.
aggressively kind of going, yeah, you're an adult
No,
now.
Did she just
No.
kind of accept it for this is who I am? and I have my Creature poster
she
on
never
the wall.
She actually never said a word. But here's why. Another reason I got rid of it. Not only did I want to get the clutter out of my wife.
Dr. Freud.
No, I do want to get the clutter out of my wife. I mean, it's the cobwebs. I bring a Mexican to clean her vagina twice a week. Man, I don't know what he's doing down there. Okay. Keeps her busy. I watch monster movies. She's quiet for an hour. But, no, you know what I do is that... no, but the reason I got rid of it is because I don't need the clutter. I just wanted stuff because I know if I die, it's not like people are going to go. My wife and daughter are going to go. Oh, this is valuable stuff. They're going to just give it away, throw it out, They're going to give it to. They're not going to. It's not like it's. I have the bones of the Elephant Man, where if I die, the Smithsonian's calling. Hey, we heard Bobby had the bones of the Elephant Man. Can we get those?
Whoa.
I think those are on
You have an
eBay right
original
now.
Script. With,
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is
that
pretty
is
damn
something.
good. Where you couldn't
You
tell
could,
them like
you could easily write a little note, before you cremate me.
yeah, like
Please put this up on auction.
well, like a life alert badge in case I die.
Wait, let me make it quite clear also that when I got to $6,000 for it, I did not spend it on my wife. I bought myself a set of drums and a new stereo.
Phew.
Let me make it-
Oh my god!
make it quite
You had me
clear.
so terrified.
I'm gonna be ill. I'm
No,
this is-
wait a second. If I died, my wife would take it, and if I said to her, "Honey, this is worth thousands," she'd get the money. She would sell it. She'd buy something like nice clothes and fuck another guy. She'd have sex with another man. I am like getting back to the mummy. When I die, I want my possessions and my wife to be stabbed and want them to be thrown into the pyramid with me. I want everybody to die with me.
So obviously, creature.
All my stuff is coming with me. That's why I never knew why people.
Then why'd you sell it?
What?
Yeah,
Because that's what I'm going to do.
I think. What, you're going to sell your stuff?
No, I'm going to be buried with it.
Me too.
Fuck everybody.
That's why, I thought about getting cremated. But what I also thought about was why do people get these giant crypts, these houses, those Persian palaces at the cemetery? What do you need a whole house for? So you can take your stuff. I actually, let me tell you something. I got TV Guide. I got a lifetime subscription to TV Guide. And I told them.
Name dropping?
When I said it goes right to. But then we don't get TV Guide anymore. I don't think they make it anymore. But I got it for years. And
they make it.
They make it?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I stopped getting it. Because I get a lifetime subscription. I told them,
now.
Finish the
when I
thought.
die, I want it to go to my grave. I want you to put the TV Guide. I'm not giving my wife anything. Not looking at shit.
So all the TV guides are going to go in your casket.
Oh, by the way, let me tell you, I got rid of that too. I got rid.
You got rid of the casket? No,
The creature casket? There are only 5 of them made.
So obviously, Bobby
know
was
what I'm talking about.
a huge creature fan.
Yeah. Anyway, I had this great collection, but I started collecting, and then it just got to the point where it was just so much stuff, and I didn't really.
But see, that's what can I have to interject this
Yes,
because
please,
that is the core of collecting,
Right.
which is you can't if you collect it and then you put it in a closet, then you shouldn't be doing
No,
it.
I had it displayed.
But it has to be the thing that you every 2 weeks then go into go into the case and touch it and go, I'm so happy I have
No,
this.
but I didn't do that. And
My
by the way,
precious.
when people came over,
Yeah.
I'd say, look at all this creature stuff. They go,
You got the wrong friends.
Yeah, you need to
Invite
hang out
us
with
over.
us. Yes, exactly.
Invite us over.
How many people are listening to this podcast right now? Who are in the
Nobody.
same, no, they're in the same boat. And there are people out there who have huge collections of whatever it is, whether it's like Dracula, Frankenstein. Well, maybe it's all general monster
There's also a
collection.
tipping point, I think, for all collectors. When you see something and you have this huge collection at home, and then suddenly the sense of obligation, like, oh shit. The first reaction isn't, oh my God, that's so cool. The first reaction is, oh God damn it, I have to spend $1,000 because now I've got to buy that for my collection. Once it starts getting that obligatory, then you reach a point where it's not necessarily as exciting or as fun. It becomes more of an obligation.
Are you saying that when you see something, it's more like impulse? It's like, oh my God, I gotta get it. I don't care how much it is, and you gotta get it. When you start questioning,
Coincidentally, at the last Monsterpalooza, I saw the Munsters Uncle Gilbert figure, the creature figure.
yeah,
And
that's right.
My first impulse wasn't, oh wow, that's really cool. I don't care how much that costs. My first impulse was, oh shit, I'm going to blow $25 on this.
I still have. That's one thing I do have. And by the way, that's Arizona Gilman. Johnny Gilbert makes it. I still have, and my wife loves it. By the way, we have 2 or 3. I have a prototype. You have to come over to my house and see this. I have a prototype, a creature model that she has framed, and right next to that in a frame, really cool frame, one of these shadow boxes, is the Uncle Gilbert. The Frank Munsters.
Yeah.
So she has those 2. Those 2 we kept. I have a beautiful French creature poster. And I have a female creature, the naked one with the tits.
That's nice.
That's a rare one.
Yeah.
What's her name? It's a beautiful statue.
know.
Alice.
My wife loved that. We have that. And I
Dorothy.
One or 2 great creature busts in my house.
Do you have the black and white one and the color one? The bust, is it from Sideshow? Is it one of those?
What you talking about?
It's the creature bust.
There's so many of them. This one was made years ago.
Years
It's
ago.
great. It's one of the best ones I've ever seen. It's a beautiful bust. So I have a few pieces, around my house, but a lot of it I got rid of. And yeah, but I look at all of us guys who collect monsters, and we have little monster fetishes. That's why when I saw, Ed Gein, and you look at
This is taking quite a turn.
Hang on,
Okay.
hang on.
and Jeffrey Dahmer, and they have all these body parts and faces of people. I go, we're just pretenders. They collect.
That's right. They're the real horror
They're
fans.
the horror fans.
Yeah.
When I will tell you that one of my prized possessions, creature wise, I haven't.
Sure, I had it.
No. Okay, well let me throw this out at you.
No, don't fuck with him.
No. I haven't put it together yet. But what it is, it's an original lobby card, 54. It's the creature coming out of the water.
I have them all.
Okay,
Frank.
yes, yeah. But underneath, it has autographs from all the main characters, including Nestor Pava, who played Lucas.
Yeah, sure.
And everybody else. So I have autographs, original autographs from the whole cast.
Nice.
And that's
Check.
None of us are impressed.
Check.
Yeah,
mate.
so take that, Slayton. Take that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Now he doesn't care anymore because he sold it all.
No, but
No.
compared to what I had.
Did you have a? So you have do you still have that life size creature? By the
Yeah,
way?
it's really
You still
cool.
have that
I'm
one?
surprised
Did
I
you
have a picture of
repaint
it
it
on my phone, huh?
Did you repaint it, or does it?
No.
No, you put a
Because
mask on it for a while.
No, because
I had a mask on it for a while, yes.
another big Los Angeles monster collector, Daniel Roebuck. He
He
had
had one repainted.
yes,
And
he
his
did.
was a copy. Mine's an original.
No,
Yeah, they redid it.
I did not know that.
Dan Roebuck. In your face.
Dan-
in your creature face.
It might,
You know,
no,
Dan was
they
quite
redid
a
it.
monster
And you know what?
collector.
I
Yes.
could be wrong, but it was repainted, which destroyed the value. I have an original.
What about Dan Chow?
Huh?
The guy who did the Outer Limits book.
David Chow?
David Chow,
David
excuse
Chow?
me.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why I didn't
David
know
Chow.
because you said the name incorrectly.
He's also
said the name
creature collector?
I'm sorry.
Wrong. Demon
No,
booze.
but you were saying. Go ahead.
He's also a
But
creature collector?
he is a big creature collector,
Oh, I
so
didn't know
he has
that.
a lot of stuff too. And he has a statue, and I don't know, like I was at his house for a brief period of time, so I didn't get a sense of like how old the stuff was.
Well, one of the best creature statues, life size. Now Ruby's came out with a creature.
I had
yeah,
one of those.
but
Yeah,
you know,
right, right.
but it bugged me because you know what, Bobby? It wasn't correct. It wasn't completely accurate. It was the only life size statue out there at that time,
Right.
and the chest was a little weird. The
Yeah, I
paint job
had
was-
one. I got rid of
and
it.
you know, it was a good price, but I was on the
Henry
board.
Alvarez did
Then,
one. That
yes,
was
yes.
great. Henry Alvarez?
Then Mark Alfrey. Mark Alfrey did that amazing.
Yeah, he did one. Yeah, I
that's
saw
the
that
one
one.
that Roebuck had in his house.
Yeah.
You
he
had that?
recently
No,
sold.
no, I used that
that.
deal.
Matt, that is unbelievable. It's the creature is standing. It's the
It's
actual.
amazing.
It
Yeah, I
is
saw it.
with one arm stretched out.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
Now the
yeah.
interesting thing is, I've heard different stories about the paint job. Mark did the paint job for Daniel Roebuck's creature, but I saw one at a Monster Palooza where Julie Adams was, and someone else had done the paint job. It was unbelievable. It looked exactly like the creature from the advertisings, where the lips were like a little red and
Right.
he had kind of like the little pimply things all over him and stuff. And it was phenomenal. Now that's the creature statue that I would like.
well, my wife, who is,
We love and adore.
we do love and adore her because she can hang, and she
She's
she
amazing.
approves of all my crazy
that's-
collections.
Matt's, and just for our listeners out there, Matt's place is covered wall to wall,
My wife
room
would
to
go nuts
room.
if she
No,
was.
she would kill herself, and
has,
then you.
It has all
I gotta,
the
she would
great
kill herself. I got to bring it over
monster,
there.
science fiction, fantasy, horror. Everything is all over the house, and it's an amazing house, and he has an amazing wife.
But she has even there's one thing that I really, really want, big purchase item, high ticket item, and that is they do all these versions of Robbie the Robot.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife,
Sharp Image had
Fred
one of those,
Barton.
right?
yeah,
Fred
but
Barton?
like
Fred Barton.
Fred Barton,
Yeah.
Right.
but I want the one that has the most
Bells and whistles.
bells and whistles, right?
Yeah,
that,
that's
that
the premium.
moves
That's the
and
premium one.
Does all the voices,
That's
and you
the
can
premium
play
one.
a
Yeah.
CD and all kinds of crazy shit. And my wife has said, "Oh, don't worry, we are going to get that. It is going to happen. We're going to make that happen."
Oh, my God.
My wife said
I
this.
love I
And
loved your wife already, but
Yeah.
I love her even more. Now,
and that's why I usually have an erection most of the time.
See, that's great. Because if I said that to my wife, she'd go a divorce. It is going to happen. That is going. You get that thing. You bring that thing in this fucking house. It will happen.
For our listeners out there, if you check out Fred Barton on the internet, he sells these robots, and there's 3 versions of the Robbie the Robot. There is a version which is like it's about $16,000, and it's a beautiful example of Robbie the Robot, but it does nothing. It does nothing. It doesn't light up.
And that's $16,000.
Why would you buy that? Then there's the next step up, which it has some bells and whistles. It lights up. It does a few things.
Yeah,
but
but
the one that Matt is talking about, it's the premium one. It's
the Mercedes.
It is or the Ferrari.
How much does that cost? Do you know?
It's up there.
Speaking of, my wife's going to kill me if I don't get out of here.
Yeah. Look. We
The
talked
show's
about.
supposed to be an hour. It's got over an hour.
Well,
we talked about Robbie the
you're having
Robot.
a good time.
We
The
talked
time
about
has
Robbie the
flown.
Robot at MGM, and maybe we should save that for
Yeah,
another
no, it's
time.
okay. It's
But
I should
we
come back.
covered a lot of stuff. Absolutely, we should do a sequel to Universal Monster. I would like to talk about Invisible Man.
Oh my
I would
God,
like
we
to talk
haven't
about
got
Rondo
that.
Hatton.
We'll do that again
The
another
Ape
one.
Women trilogy.
Yeah, all of
I'm
those are
around in the
good.
next few weeks. Let's do it again.
Sounds good.
Well, Bobby, I want to thank you very much for being with us.
I'll bring
because
pictures of
some
my
people
cl-
are a little just too slow at jumping at things. But I
Whoa,
wanna
whoa,
thank
whoa!
you.
What is this?
Come
A
on,
coup? All
come
of a
on.
sudden? No, like God, you are such a freaking control freak. It is amazing. He's like, come on, I have now decided, I am Big Brother. But we love you. But we love you.
I will
But
bring-
you know what? I'm the guy at the party, at the monster party, that doesn't want the party to end because I'm
And
having a
keep on
good time.
going.
And I'm the
But we
guy.
realize-
I'm the guy that's on a schedule, and I'm trying to move things along.
Stop banging the table.
What is the schedule?
The Mad
Thank
Monster
you.
Party.
The guy that bangs the table.
Karloff, Mad Monster Party. That was
Mad
another
Monster
great
Party.
one.
Another great one. Not exactly
That was a
universal.
Karloff's voice. That was.
That was
Yeah,
was
yeah, it
Carlos.
was Carlos.
That was Carlos.
I know it's Karloff the carrot. Yeah. Great.
But we don't have time to talk about this, Bobby, because the show has to be over.
Well, it shows an hour.
Well, it could be, but
It could be 30 minutes.
Maybe it could be a little longer. Who knows?
Well,
You know what? I don't like rules.
Okay.
That's what I'm
Oh
about.
my God,
I gotta
All right.
pee and I gotta eat.
Bobby! Thank you
Bobby,
so much.
thank you.
And next time I
And-
see you guys, I'll bring my monster.
Oh, yes,
picture.
definitely. I'd love
Show
to
you
see
what I
that.
had.
You've been
Shout-
great, and you are a true monster fan.
I am a
and,
true monster fan.
And I want to thank Larry Strothe for keeping things on schedule. I would like to.
I want to thank Matt for keeping the conversation moving.
I would like to thank James Gonis for his lifestyle and
Can I go pee now?
and Sean for his amazing knowledge.
yes, everybody, please keep listening to Monster Party. Thanks a lot.
Keep America strong and watch Universal Monster Movie.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Great.